Second Cup, sponsored by Public Espresso and Coffee.
Good morning, everyone. It's 8 o'clock on the start of a finally Friday. Believe it or not, we have made it to the end of the week. So many of you still shoveling out. So many of you with kids, nieces, nephews, grandchildren. I was going to say grandsons, granddaughters, all off from school.
Working to entertain them all week. We know it's been a snowy week. It's been a long week for a lot of people because you weren't just shoveling once in most places. You were out there shoveling, snow blowing, doing what you had to do a number of times.
Per day, no less.
Yeah, right?
So, Orchard Park is no different. And so many people are going to be heading to Highmark Stadium once again on Sunday for this massive Bills-Chiefs game that could basically send us into the last round before the Super Bowl, rather, the last round of the playoffs before the Super Bowl. And this is going to be a massive game. 70,000 people converging in one area, and they still need people to shovel out all the seats.
So starting today at 2, they're asking people to once again grab your shovel, go to Highmark Stadium, and help them shovel out the seats. We saw this happen, right? So they could get Sunday's game on. And there was still a lot of snow left in that stadium. We saw it going up in the air as people were celebrating on Sunday.
Okay, so ABC News correspondent Trevor Ault is actually in Orchard Park. He was just on Good Morning America, and he's kind enough to join us once again for Second Cup. Trevor, good morning to you. They always send you to the snowy spots.
I know. I feel terrible. I'm only ever on Second Cup when there's a ton of snow. One of these days there's going to be a nice summer story in Buffalo, and I'll get to come on the show with you guys. But it's always good to join, and it's going to be back at Highmark Stadium.
We sure hope that's the case, Trevor. You're welcome in Buffalo anytime. All right, talk us through what you've been seeing today. Already they're out there working, huh?
Well, once again, we're seeing the plows out here. So basically, you guys know what it looks like at the stadium. There's a lot of snow here this time of year, but even for Buffalo, as you guys know very well, this is a lot even by Buffalo standards. I'm very excited for this afternoon, all of these people to come out with their shovels, because it kind of, to me, is a nice representation of when I think of Buffalo and when I think of Bills fans, which is that everybody is all in. It's in the spirit of the city of Buffalo that everyone wants to chip in and help, and that's the case. Just like last week, people coming out to clear out the seats ahead of what should be an awesome football game. Of course, we know that a lot of people might have some trouble getting out of their houses because of how much snow and several feet in some of the higher elevations and things like that. But watching the plows already hard at work, it's exciting, and it's getting me ready for some snowy football, which is Buffalo football in my heart.
Hey, so Trevor, they send you all over the place, and you're in some of the worst weather conditions in the nation. How does Buffalo compare to other places that you've been recently?
Well, Buffalo kind of is the standard when it comes to snowfall. In fact, generally, if I'm being honest with you, I've used it as a joke, as something that's a foregone conclusion. When it's like, oh, we're talking about something obvious on the news, I'll say, oh, is it snowing in Buffalo today? Because it's almost always snowing in Buffalo. But here I am covering the snow in Buffalo because it is a lot. This is always the guarantee. If there is a widespread storm across a huge chunk of the country, you know that you're going to be safe to have something demonstrative with a giant pile of snow and active plows in Buffalo. And that's for two reasons. Number one, because there's going to be a ton of snow, but also because the city's really good at handling a ton of snow, which means you get a lot of action. It means that the streets are plowed enough that you can move around, that you can go out and meet people, you can talk to people. Whereas when it happens in other places, for example, right now in the state of Oregon, there's like a crazy deep freeze, and it's terrible for them. They're not used to that. And so if you go there and try to report there, it's a lot harder to travel around. You end up having to just basically report outside of your hotel. In Buffalo, you get to check both of those boxes where you get out, you get to talk to people who are impacted, but you also know you're going to have a ton of snow too. And then also, it's not often I get to fold in football in my reporting too, so that's a nice bonus for Buffalo.
So, Trevor, tell us, what does the rest of your day look like? Do you get to stick around here? And by the way, everybody's saying hi to you, and they also want to know if you get to watch the game here.
I don't get to watch the game. I think I'm going back to New York after this, but we'll see based on the flights, because, it took me, I tried to get here on Sunday. That got canceled. Then on Tuesday, they tried to send me here. So I went to JFK Airport. My flight at JFK was canceled. So then I went to LaGuardia. Then that flight was canceled. And then yesterday, after a bit of a delay, the flight finally got in. I'm scheduled to fly back to New York City in a couple hours, but we'll see. And there are worse places to be stranded than Buffalo ahead of a playoff football game. Last year, I was here for several of the Buffalo playoff football games, following up on the Damar Hamlin story too, and it was great. And we didn't get press credentials to get into the stadium, so I was just watching from a Buffalo sports bar. So if I should be so fortunate as to have a fourth canceled flight this week, I would be more than happy to stick around and watch the Bills play this weekend.
I'm cracking up because I see Grace's comment here. I think you're sticking around for the game, Trevor. But
all right,
okay,
yeah,
so
save a spot at the bar for me, Grace.
Let's talk about that football game, Trevor, real quick. Chiefs-Bills, Sunday night, 6:30. What are your predictions?
I'm hoping that both teams score 100 points. I mean, there are no two teams that are more fun to watch playing against each other than the Bills and the Chiefs. And we've seen that in shootouts. I hope once again, I think just for the narrative of it all, I would love to see them go to overtime again, have something with the coin toss, but where the Bills get it first and score, just because of the last time with the playoff loss where they were knocked out and they had to change the playoff rules. But if you had to pick two teams to play in a playoff setting, you would pick the Bills and the Chiefs, regardless of who you're a fan of, because both teams are a blast to watch. I'm extremely excited for this football game, and I'm not dumb enough to pick the Kansas City Chiefs on a Buffalo live stream, so I think the Bills win it.
Very good, Trevor. Okay, yeah, that would be sweet poetic justice, wouldn't it? If that's how it ended. I like Trevor's prediction. Trevor, one more question from one of our viewers who we call Cuppies. Marguerite wants to know, is Trevor a Swiftie?
Well, yeah. This was one that I was not prepared for. I respect Taylor Swift as a business mogul. I'm not generally firing up her music. I don't have any problem with how much she's featured on the broadcast, and I think the people that are like, "Oh, Taylor Swift is ruining football," are stupid. But am I going to play Speak Now when I'm relaxing at home? Probably not. But I have heard from a lot of people, a lot of friends of mine who have children or who have daughters, or even with their wives or girlfriends, that say because of Taylor Swift, that now their family members are into football and they're talking about that and having conversations that they've never had before. I think that's awesome. I think it's great for the people, and Taylor Swift is basically the economy of a small nation. So it's good for everybody.
Isn't that the truth?
We've been talking about that for so long. I guess, Trevor, what are you listening to personally?
Oh, man. I mean, at this point, if I'm stuck in snow, I'm just listening to the sounds of a crackling fire once I get back to the hotel room. Other than that, I used to live in Portland, Oregon, so I listen to kind of the weird hipster indie music and things like that. But anything, I can get down with anything.
Okay. Very good. Well, we encourage you to give Taylor another shot because you've got a couple of Swifties here on the desk. Big fans, really excited, hoping she'll be in town this weekend.
Trevor Alt from ABC News, live for us in Orchard Park. Trevor, we always appreciate you coming on the show. You're a friend of the show. Appreciate you being a good sport.
So nice to have you, Trevor.
Happy to come on. Thanks, guys.
Safe travels. Okay, so everyone who's here with us, we appreciate you as well. Grace is saying that she's hopeful that Taylor's flight gets canceled.
Oh, thank you. Wasn't that so nice of Trevor to come on the show and be with us?
He is so genuine.
Super cool, super down to earth, just like our friend Aaron Katursky,
who
was also on the show with us. I think he was overwhelmed by us, but we had a great time.
So here's the thing. Aaron Katursky is like the consummate professional. Do you remember this?
Yeah.
So it was on the old set. He was here for, I don't even remember what.
He was here for a court appearance.
Oh my gosh, right. And we were trying to show you a picture of something, and Aaron had the picture. He is like the investigative reporter for the network. So Katie goes, okay, can you see this? Grabs his phone and then shows it to the camera. And the guy was probably sweating bullets.
That's not how it went. He goes, I have the picture right here. And he showed it to you and me. And I was like, oh, okay, well, do you mind if we just do this? And like,
it just happened.
Then you were like, do you know David Muir? Of course he knows David Muir. It's just very embarrassing all around, mostly for Ed, who is the embarrassing one. So, but glad to have Trevor with us. It was fun. It's always fun to see Buffalo highlighted.
We love that. Hopefully next time it could be for like sunshine and clear blue skies, right?
Howard, we agree.
Yeah.
We concur.
So like many of you, we have not only had to actually work, but also then go home and shovel out. And so it has just been an exhausting week personally. But, what we're doing is no different than what you're doing, really. And I feel like that's the benefit of Second Cup. In fact, take a look at Katie actually shoveling and snow blowing. Look at her cute little face as she was.
Okay, I used the snowblower for the first time.
Thank you. So proud of herself.
Look at that driveway. Did a good job.
You did do a good job.
I would like to say that Paul was working. Okay, so that's why I had to do it. I had to FaceTime him to figure out how to turn the dumb thing on. And then, like, on one side, I don't know if all snowblowers work the same. This is the first time I ever did it. One side gets you moving, the other side shoots the
That's
snow.
what I was saying, the auger and the mover.
No one knows what those words are, the mover. But I'll tell you what, at one point I was just moving and nothing was shooting. And I'm like, oh my God, I forgot to shoot it. And so I like hit the, it is like full lying out. I'm like, I'm going to break this piece of equipment and Paul's going to be so mad. But I think I did a good job.
Okay, so yes, here is an example of the auger and the mover. So roll this video if you would, John. This is the driveway. The auger is on the left. The mover is on the right.
No, the mover's pushing it. That's what I think.
I was wearing these sweatpants that I got for the holidays, and they smell so bad now, like gas. You know what I mean?
You got gas on them, yeah.
Yeah. So I was doing my driveway, did my neighbors, and I have the worst OCD also when it comes to this because, and tell me if you're like this, if the driveway isn't down to pavement and like done perfectly, I have to keep going.
Turns out I'm not like that. My goal was just like A, get as much done so I could easily get out in the morning, and then B, like make sure that Paul didn't have to come home and do absolutely everything. And I initially tried to shovel, and then I got back halfway through and I was like, okay.
Mary says, so my husband was snow blowing a path and our neighbor's Christmas lights got caught in the blades. Oh no.
Well, so that was one thing that Paul said, like on FaceTime, is he's like talking me through, push this button a couple times. Now this. And then he goes, do not, if it gets clogged, put your hand in
No,
anything.
exactly.
I'm like, I know, I'm not going to do that.
Why did Russ say the same thing to me? Like, do they think we're stupid?
And you know what? That's what I was trying not to be like sassy back to him, but like, I know the rules. Like, I'm not, believe me, if something gets stuck in that, I'm running away from it. I'm not going to like stick my hand in it.
Okay, so Anita says, I'm not OCD in any area of my life except shoveling. And that's what, like, okay, Sandra, thank you. I'm so obsessive. I can't stop until it's perfect. Right, it drives me nuts when like there are lines that still have a little bit of a mound of snow, like you have to go right back over them.
I said to myself, I got to let this one go because this is my first time doing it. And then at one point, like, I really had to think about it just because it's not automatic for me yet. And so at one point I was coming up the driveway to my car and I was moving the thing. And then I'm like, oh my God, how do I stop it? How do I stop it? Like, and I
just let go.
Well, right. And then I was like, ah! And like, I was like 2 feet from my car. And then I was like, okay, I stopped it. Everything is fine. Just relax. Now put this away. Have you ever seen Bob's Burgers?
Yes, of course.
Okay. Where the dad is teaching the teenage girl to drive in a parking lot. There's like one other car in the parking lot, like 100 feet away. She's behind the wheel and he's going, she sees the car and she's afraid. And he's going, just, you can hit the brakes or you can turn the wheel. She's like, He's like, you can hit the brakes or you can just hit the brakes, I mean, they just keep going so slow. That's how I felt. I was like, this is going to be me.
Howard says it's kind of the same as mowing the yard. You need those straight lines and clean edges. Everyone says I'm like their husband. I'm telling you, I got to the point where I just broke out the shovel because the snowblower just wasn't doing it anymore. It was creating more problems than anything else.
Well, so we have that shed in the backyard too. And then afterwards, that picture, I sent it to Paul and I was like, this is my she shed now. Stay out of it.
I love this. Kat, good morning to you. She says, I don't normally watch local news, but these guys are adorable.
Oh, welcome, Kat.
That means so much to us. And look, we're just here with you, having a good time and also talking about real things as normal people. We don't want to do this stuffy nonsense that we,
Welcome to the nonsense that is our lives some days.
And look, I mean, how many people think that, they're just in a vacuum, like they live in a vacuum? Nope, we're doing the same things that you are.
Yeah.
Shonda says, like when you shovel and then 3 inches are back when you finish. That is so annoying.
I got a little cocky yesterday too because I decided I was going to do the sidewalk. So I went around to like the neighbors. But how do you turn it? Do you just keep pushing the move while you turn?
Yes.
Okay.
But turn the auger off.
Where you're not throwing snow while you do it.
Right. But you can.
Blower. I don't like calling it the auger. That sounds silly.
That's literally what it's called.
I don't like it. No, but I was trying to figure out because initially when I was trying to turn it around, I wasn't pushing the move. That was hard.
Does yours go in reverse?
That's a great question. Couldn't tell you.
Well, so ours goes in reverse, but I don't like using it going in reverse because it takes
Right.
forever.
The last thing I need is it coming at me. Like, we already had enough problems with it going away from me.
Connie says, did I hear there's another storm heading toward Buffalo? I'm going to say you're probably wrong. We're going to get like a couple of inches here. But next week, I'm looking at the temperatures. It's going to be in the mid 30s to 40s.
Like, we definitely have snow today. We could get a few inches of snow today, Aaron said, but hopefully next week we're good.
Okay, so Melly, reverse is so slow. Right, exactly. So I would much rather just pull it. And so I've been doing this like this F45.
Yeah.
And so one of the things is pushing the sled. And you push it with a lot of weight on it. And so sometimes you go in reverse, sometimes you push it. So it's like a push-pull movement. It sucks when you're doing it at the gym, but like it was totally worth it because it really helped yesterday.
I, for one, have not been doing the F45 workouts. So when I got out there last night and then I was shoveling and then I was blowing, I was just like, I'm going to be one of those storm-related injuries that we talk about all the time when I call you. Like, and my back is so sore. I can't do it.
Can we talk about why you did call me yesterday? Should we? Do we? Or is it rumor and speculation?
It's all rumor. And you guys know it has to deal with Taylor Swift.
Okay.
We got all excited. We thought we knew where she might be. But I said to Ed, I'm like, these are all rumors. I'm just seeing. I didn't even bring it up initially. Somebody else brought it up to us.
Right.
And then I called him and I was like, I'm going to go to where she is. I said, I'm there. I'm there. And he's like, what? Where are you?
What are you seeing? Oh my God, no way. I was so mad. Kathy says, I think we all had practice shoveling, so we should all head to the stadium to help out. Okay, speaking of,
is sore today.
$20 an hour. Is it worth it? Are you going to go? Are you going to go shovel out?
You bring your own shovel. They've got those shoot things. Do you guys think that they'll have more people this time around helping out?
I think so.
Yeah. Well, I feel like the turnaround, I guess, is a little bit more forgiving. Because last Sunday, I mean, they were like getting people in. I mean, when did it stop snowing? Like Saturday there. And then they were like getting people in as much,
There were the driving bans.
Yeah.
It turned into a nightmare
So I feel like they have a more forgiving timeline this time around.
I also love Linda's comment here. Not to change the subject, but I love that story with Jeff Russo. I had a tear in my eye. So
that was a sweet
for those of you who haven't seen our Instagram page, and we encourage you to follow us on Instagram as well. You can follow me at Dranch TV and at Morsecat. Be part of the conversation there as well. Come along for the ride. There's this amazing story in Lackawanna. This one woman, she's in her 60s. She's had health issues in the past, and the city of Lackawanna hired crews to come and help clear the snow.
Mm-hmm.
It turns out that they wound up putting the snow in this woman's driveway.
So they say it was a little bit of a miscommunication here. She was really upset, obviously, that her driveway got filled with snow, and then she wouldn't be able to move it. I mean, you can't move the snow that those things put somewhere. It's so packed.
Well, especially at her age, in her condition. Not saying that 60 isn't old, but, you know,
nobody could move that stuff. It's like ice, you know? So anyhow, Jeff goes there, meets with her, makes a couple calls, and manages to get that snow cleared for her.
But what the best part is her reaction.
Yeah, so sweet.
And she was just so thrilled. Yeah. And, you know, to hear, we talked about this yesterday and in the days past, Sean Crotty from the city of Hamburg, the town of Hamburg, rather, coming on the show saying, okay, look, mea culpa, I made a mistake. And owned up to it. Yeah. The city of Lackawanna did just that.
Yep.
And so they came out, cleared all the snow, and she was just so grateful.
That's what Peter says. That woman Jeff Russo interviewed, very sweet. Glad they took responsibility, for sure.
Patty says such a heartfelt story. And John Marrero, our producer here, can definitely drop a link to that story in the comments here so that everyone can see it.
Okay, let's talk real quick about the Bills game because we keep going back and forth. This is going to be a big game, right? Okay, we've got Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes. So what we were talking about today is obviously they're competitors on the field, but did you know they kind of hang out a little bit outside of work?
Yeah, they golf together.
They golfed it. So we pulled up, they did interviews the other day, and we just wanted to play for you guys what they had to say about each other. If John can pull that up for you.
This is called pause for sound.
Fantastic player. His track record and his resume speaks for himself.
Josh is a great dude. I respect the way he plays football and just the guy that he is. But it's like when two guys that are ultra competitive, that are friends off the field, go up against each other. We obviously both want to win because we know we see each other in the off season, and you want to have just a little bit of those bragging rights.
So I'm sure that, you know, off the field, they're tight. Sunday, they are going to be fierce competitors. And look, the Chiefs haven't been playing to that standard that we know them to play at. I mean, I'm going Bills, especially in front of a home team crowd. The Bills don't lose at home. I think they've only lost once at home this season.
Also,
Why is everyone calling him Kermit?
there's so I don't know. Let's not be mean. Like I don't know. There's no denying.
Grace, oh God.
Oh gosh. I think that yes, they're fierce competitors. I think it's cool when you can have a working relationship on the field. Obviously, you're doing your job, right? You're getting stuff done. Off the field, that's cool. You can, realize that it's your work, and you can have a relationship with somebody. I think that's cool.
Cheryl says, "Go Bills!" Hoping they win. They need to stay focused, and if they will win, they're going to be consistent. Got it. Okay. Oh my God, Sandra, so funny. I am cracking up.
Question: if anybody who's with us right now, are you going to the game? Anybody going to the game on Sunday?
So we have tickets. I mean, you're off next week. We should put that out there. But I'm not. I mean, I'm not going to go. Russ is going to go with one of his friends. I think we've had this conversation here together as Cuppies. The late games are killer if you're an early riser on Monday.
Yeah, and we are really early risers. Like we get up before 3:00, so it's hard. A 6:30 game isn't the worst. Those 8:00 games. I mean, there have been 8:00 games we've hardly watched.
Right, exactly. You fall asleep in halftime. I love Shonda's comment here. Ordering takeout, pizza, and wings.
Love that.
You know what's so interesting? We should probably check in with Casey's. You know that bar on Amherst Street right by Wegmans?
Yeah.
They have a ton of Chiefs stuff in the window. Like I feel like it's a Chiefs backers bar, but they also have Bills stuff. So I'd be super interested to see what happens there this weekend.
I like Casey's. They have really good fish fry.
My mom weighing in here. We got Eagles fans rooting for the Bills. Who are the Eagles fans?
Linda says if they let Josh be, Josh will win. Charlene is going to the game.
Cool, Charlene. Where are you sitting? Are you sitting in the heated section or are you sitting in the nosebleeds like I would have? You got to bundle up. It's going to be cold. 26 degrees.
It is going to be cold. But you know what? I think people will stay pretty heated just by what's going on. What do you think Patrick Mahomes is going to make of the Bills Mafia? Because the last time he played, what was it? The playoff game here in Buffalo.
During the pandemic.
It was during the pandemic, so there was no crowd.
Right. They piped in the audience sound, which is so weird. I don't think he's going to know what hit him.
It's distracting for sure.
Well,
right?
and it's just so loud because Bills Mafia, as we know, the 12th man is super important. So, I mean, there's literally the 12th man on the rafters at the stadium. So we are an iconic fan base. And you even heard from Travis Kelce on his fan base, on his podcast rather, about how the Buffalo fan base is so cool and so important. It's going to be so amazing. Bring on the noise.
Very good, Anita. Yeah, Peter says, Casey's is a Chiefs backers bar, but they get their Bills stuff too. It's a great place.
Mafia show out, Della says. Yeah, no doubt. Okay, make your predictions now. Bills win by how many?
Oh my gosh, do you think Trevor's on? Do you think it's going to come down? I hate when it comes down. I love it and I hate when it comes down to it because I'm so familiar with it and I feel comfortable when it comes down to the very end. But then every time I'm like, do they have to take it to the very end every time?
I'm saying,
is it going to be close?
Mark, I'm right there with you. I say 3. Bills win by 3. And
Melly says 24-20 Bills.
Okay. Close. Bills win by 3. Cheryl says.
I think it's going to be a close game.
Diane says Bills win by 7.
Do we think?
Linda. No kidding.
I really think that Trevor's prediction with it coming down to a coin toss and then us getting about would be
overtime.
Like, although now they changed the rules, right?
Well,
so
right, because it was the Kansas City Bills game with the 13-second curse.
But it was funny how he said that, and then the Bills would get the ball first this time. That would be poetic justice if we won that way, I guess. I don't know. I hope it doesn't come down to that. That would be too much for me.
Paula says, I predict I'll be on the edge of my seat in the last minutes of the 4th quarter. Right? No kidding.
Yeah.
That's how it has been this whole entire season. And what about this feed the pit narrative? Who are we sacrificing to the pit this week?
It's so crazy.
It's so unbelievable that that's even a thing that's going around on social media right now. Gotta love it.
Bills Mafia will do anything.
Bills by $1 billion. That's true too.
All right. We have to get going. We have to go back on TV. Have a fantastic weekend, guys. I hope you get all shoveled out and you get to rest and relax a little.
I'll see you right back here Monday morning. Have a great weekend. Go Bills!
Go Bills!